Diablo 4 Season 4 is set to release next month, and there are some huge changes coming that I wanted to talk about. We've been able to play this on the PTR for the last week, kind of try out these new features, and it's surprising how good they are. And whether you're a veteran player who's been here from the very start through the highs and lows, or you've just picked up the game on the Game Pass, the changes here should benefit everyone. I think we should give feedback when the game is in a bad place or when things don't land like they should. But then when things go well, we need to praise it. And looking at Season 4 and what they've done here, it's better than I expected. And I want to talk about it. So first up, the Codex of Power has had a complete rework in Season 4. What we have right now is a mess. It's terrible. It is the worst itemization system I've ever seen in an ARPG, where some legendary aspects you collect will go into the Codex at its minimum role. And then all of the rest we have to store in a chest as single-use items, and then search for them, drag them out, use them. And then on top of this, every single item we find, we have to go onto it, read the affix. Is it a good roll? Is it a high percent? Yes, okay, I need to store this. Is it a bad roll? I need to throw this out. And overall, it's just a bad system. You spend more time fuddling around in your stash than you do playing the game. The new system removes all of that, and it is incredible. I saw this being announced at the campfire chat, and I thought, there's probably a way they fudged it a little bit. It's probably not great, but it is. It solves pretty much most of my problems I had with it, and hopefully yours too. Every single affix goes into the Codex of Power. Once you unlock it, it goes into your Codex and is there forever. And then once you find a better roll of that item, so say you have an item and then you find a better version of it, and then you dismantle that item, it will upgrade the rank of that power in your Codex, which is what we've always wanted. So say you're going for the Sundered Ground aspect, which can increase damage between 10 and 20%. That will go into your Codex at 10%, the bottom line. And then say you find another legendary that has Sundered Ground on it at 19% damage increase, so like almost the best. You can dismantle that and your Codex will rank up. So it'll go from like rank 1 to, rank 15 in your Codex. So then you can put the 19% damage increase on every item going forward. If there was nothing else but this change in Season 4, I'd be pretty happy because the current system of managing affixes is awful. This is a massive step in the right direction and should make us feel stronger, more in control of our builds, and ultimately give us more time playing the fun parts of the game and less time stood reading the items, like reading, is this a good roll? Is it a bad roll? What should I do with it? Should I store it? Oh, my stash is full. We can just play the game. If you want to use the item, use the item. If you don't, dismantle it and upgrade your aspects in your Codex of Power. Okay, the next big addition is the pit. Now, I don't want to get too excited here, and this might not age well, but I think I can safely say the pit is so fun that it makes me not want to do anything else. And I'm being serious. The pit is basically riffs from Diablo 3. Or if you've been playing Last Epoch, it's kind of like monoliths. You select a pit level, you get thrown in, and you have to defeat a number of mobs before a timer runs out. It's basically a race to fill the bar before the timer hits the end of the bar, right? So you smash through a map as fast as possible, you go through a portal, and you go to a new map. So your first map might be a dreary dungeon with skeletons, and then your next map, you might be outside fighting, like beastmen, right? So you've got the variety, you've got the speed, and then once you've cleared enough percent, a portal will open up, you go into a boss, and you fight the boss. Once you've done that, a chest with it will appear, you loot it, and that's where all your loot is. So there's no loot inside the pit. So every mob you kill doesn't drop a thing. And then once you get to the boss, you beat him and all your loot is in that chest. And then depending on how fast you clear the pit, you will upgrade the level you can go in next time. So say you go into pit level 1 and you do it really well, you might be able to go in at pit level 4 afterwards, or 3 or 4, right? So you slowly progress all the way to, I think, pit level 200 is the cap. The reason this new feature is so good is because, one, it's super fast paced, which I think lots of us wanted. You can clear this in under 5 minutes. You can smash through this at super fast pace and clear these really well. Number 2 is there is no loot until the end. So unlike Nightmare Dungeons or Helltides, where you're clearing really fast and your build is good and you're efficient, you're still having to stop and backtrack and pick up legendaries because for some reason, this is the only ARPG without a loot filter. So you're constantly going and picking up items and looking at things on the ground and making sure you've not missed anything or scanning for things on your minimap. Here, you can fully focus on just clearing through the map as fast as possible until you get to the end and get your loot. This is easily a 10 out of 10 feature from what I've played so far, and I'm excited to get into it when Season 4 releases. It's going to be really fun just making busted builds, just like really powerful dungeon clearing builds, and just blast into 200. Are Nightmare Dungeons fixed and fun now? No, but we have the pit, so it's good. It's a really good change. Okay, next up, Helltides. Now, Helltides don't have the best rep. You need to farm them for materials. They're kind of slow, kind of repetitive. But with the changes in Season 4, they're pretty good now. There is this this bar to fill in the Helltides that slowly fills up the more mobs you defeat. And then once you fill it, you kind of go into this like chaos hell mode where tons of stuff spawns and runs at you, and you basically just get loads of elites run at you. It's fun, it's challenging, and on top of this, because it's a Helltide, there's still the risk that if you fail and you die, you lose half of your stuff. It is a really good feeling when they all start coming out. There's like these big worms come out of the ground as well, and they like spew monsters at you. I think they've done a good job here. I can't say it's going to be fun throughout the whole patch, or, you know, it's going to stay fun forever, but compared to the old Helltides, it's a big improvement. And if you played Season 2, the vampire season, there is this system where you add blood to these 3 pedestals, and it summons a big onslaught of mobs. Well, it's back. They've added it to Helltides. You basically add these 3 baleful hearts, and then you get a mini event with loads and loads of mobs and a boss. Everyone loved that system. It's back, and it's fun. So I think Helltides, they saw that they were a problem. They realized that the blood tide event things were better, and they're making this better now. I think they've done a good job with it. Blizzard does still seem to have this problem where density of mobs is terrible compared to other ARPGs. You're still riding around the Helltide looking for mobs. You're still having to mount up between packs because things are so spread out. And I wish they would just shove 100 mobs on the screen at one time. But yeah, this is definitely a step in the right direction. Going from having to travel around for packs of mobs to having everything around you just spawn and run at you is much nicer. You're kind of building up to the big fun moment where this bar burns down. So yeah, big good change. And the final big change is crafting. Before, you would just take any item to the blacksmith and upgrade it 4 times. You go dun 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 dun, and that's your item done, fully crafted, on your way. No more customization allowed. And they've changed that to the point now where crafting is almost too complex for the average player. Instead of upgrading items, we now have tempering items or masterworking them. And the way this works is with tempering, you find these temper scrolls. So there's scrolls with affixes on them. And when you go to the blacksmith, every item now only has 3 affixes on it, and you have to temper new affixes onto them. So this is basically you find new affixes that might impact your build. So say you're playing an ice sorcerer, you might find a temper affixes that have increased ice damage or increased damage to frozen enemies, and then you would go and temper that affix onto your item. So you're kind of picking your own affixes now, which is really good. It's really good to have that customization. It's going to be a little hard for new players if you're brand new and you see this system for the first time, because it's confusing to me, and I've been playing every single season. But with the changes to the Codex of Power and how simple that is now, hopefully it balances out. And then on top of this, we have masterworking, which is if you have like a fully tempered item, like a unique that has loads of affixes on, you can take it and you can masterwork it, which basically upgrades the stats of all the affixes. So all the rolls, like the 2.3%, would upgrade to like 2.5%. And then every 4th masterwork, I believe, it gets like a big boost. And it's kind of a lot of RNG, and you might have to reset and keep trying to upgrade it the way you want. But it's just more customization for gear. Overall, this just scratches the surface of the sheer amount of content and quality of life changes we're getting in Season 4. There is a ton of stuff on the PTR, that the crafting has a lot more depth than what I've mentioned. There's changes to the layout of some towns to make them easier. We can zoom out now more. There's lots of smaller UI changes. It's safe to say that Season 4 is looking awesome. I mean, compared to where we are right now in Season 3, it's going to be a game changer, honestly. There are some bad things in here. Farming certain materials seems a little bit off with the new crafting system. Some builds that they've added seem wildly overpowered. And nightmares are starting to feel a bit like a thing of the past, where, you know, everything's been refreshed and updated, except for nightmare dungeons, but we still have to go here for our glyphs. But this is still a huge step in the right direction, and I think credit where credit's due. This is looking good. And I think if you've been away from Diablo 4 for a while, maybe, I know a lot of us skipped Season 3 because it didn't have enough variation from Season 2 maybe, or it wasn't what we wanted. But everything in the PTR so far is shaping up to look really good. If they drop a really good Season 4 mechanic, like the vampire season was one of my favorites. If we get something of that level again, I think this is going to be one of the best seasons we've ever had. But that's just it. That's just my thoughts after playing the PTR for a while. I'd love to hear what you think. Have you tried it? What did you think? Or are you excited or hopeful for Season 4? Let me know in the comments. That's it from me. Take care, and I'll catch you in the next one.